In the meantime, I said to you that I don't think we hear you talk anywhere without mentioning Counter Ossie.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
One of the reasons for that is that the narrative is of such that many of us, or many, believe that the whole beginnings of this wonderful thing called reggae music emerged out of West Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
And while West Kingston represents so much of what this art form is,
Mm-hmm.
it's not only that geographic environment
Yes.
out of which the music grew.
Mm-hmm.
Count Ossie is from St. Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
but he lived in Rockfort, East Kingston. He was on Slipdock Road,
Mm-hmm.
then he moved up to the grassy off Windward Road before settling up in the Rennock Lodge area on the foot of the hills.
Yes.
Musically, he got involved in that. Well, first of all, he was exposed to Kumina music coming out of St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Harry is out of the St. Thomas area as well.
Right.
So he's exposed to that kind of thing. But as a young man in East Kingston, he would try to West Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
And, I used to cut some good herb and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you could do your buying in West Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
But it is on one of those missions that he encountered the burro drumming.
Mm-hmm.
Burro drumming must not be confused with Nyabingi drumming.
Right, and I want you to make that distinction, because whenever we talk about Counter Ossie, we move from Kumina, and not many people even go beyond Kumina, which is to say the Bantu music out of the Congo, which would have informed what we call Kumina. But then you go straight to Nyabingi without talking about Buru. So you're saying that he encountered Buru, and that's how is that different from? Well, I suppose you'd have to play the drum, but tell me as best as you can. What's the difference?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Buru drums are a bit different from the Nyabingi drums.
Mm-hmm.
And while the beat is similar, because of the tonality and so on, it makes it different. Now, a man by the name of Brother Job is who Count Ossie paid attention to. Job is one of the master drummers of the past.
Mm-hmm.
The young people like Watto King and those ancients were master hand drummers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Count learned to play Buru music.
Mm-hmm.
Buru music, my understanding is, came out of plantation days
Mm-hmm.
when the rhythm of Buru was played by drummers to stimulate a work rhythm by the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
So while we understand that drums were bandy with stereo, it was not totally so.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is to the beat of Buru.
And it is a beat of the heart. So even though you ban it, the heart still a beat, right? So it would have been almost impossible to ban the drums. So
Count now
yes.
ordered a set of drums with specific dimensions, which is what today we use as Rastafari drumming.
Okay, this is what we call the Nyabingi drums.
Yes, the strum,
Right.
the bass drum, and the repeater drum.
Which one of them, the kete? Or the kete?
The kete, yeah,
Yes,
kete.
okay.
Same one as repeater.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the lead voice in the thing.
Okay.
The Buru is the middle voice that goes tuk tuk, tuk tuk, tuk tuk, and then the bass drum. And so that's Count Ossie's first major contribution. Prior to him doing Nyabingi music, Rastafari basically played the same kind of instruments as mentor musicians. So he gave Rastafari a drum identity.
Yes.
Up in the Worker Hills, people like Johnny Moore, Rodriguez, Dan Drummond, Bobby Guinea, Wilton Guinea, Tommy McCook, a bunch of horn players would be up in the hills with counts. Now, if you understand something about music, instruments such as the piano and the guitar in particular are what they call chord instruments. And those kind of guide the harmony of the music. As a jazz scholar, the freedom or the avant-garde jazz sort of dispense with chordal instruments. So it freed up the horn players, totally freed them from the restriction of the chordal instruments.
All right, so listen now, Herbie, just for the interest of time, because what I'm sure of this, that I'm going to invite you back to kind of lay that out for us some more in terms of looking at the music and the development of the music and the different sounds and so on. Interestingly, the Go Nation series focusing on sounds this year. And to go specifically, because we have just 5 more minutes left with you, just to go specifically now to situate Count Hard. Yes.
The first big song that broke out of the hills is when Prince Buster recorded a series of songs with Count Ossie, especially Carolina.
Yes. Oh, Carolina.
And that's what we heard on the radio at dances. Dances used to be held at Tiverton Road up in Rockford, come to the midnight attraction. And that's when he broke out. But to come on stage now, that happened ironically because of the rumba dancer Margarita Mafood, who herself would dance the drums up in the hills. And she decided on one of her shows she wanted to perform with count and insisted that without count she would not perform. And that's how Count Ossie and the Warika drummers came to the public. And the rest is history.
The rest is history.
I mean, Carolina, Chubby, Africa We Want to Go are the first 3 that hit the scene. And then a whole series of songs with rastafari backing music, but in particular the seminal piece is Oh Carolina. In a nutshell, that's Count's emergence in public, and it went on forever and ever until today. Time, his son, and Mojo to a great extent has kept it going with what we now call mystic revelation of Rastafari drummers.
All right. Herbie, thank you so much. What I want to do is to continue this conversation this very month here somewhere else, because I think we need to lay this out, and you have begun that discussion for us. Thank you so much.
Yes, to those in the studio, here at Moji.
Yes.
Thanks, Herbie. Rastafari.
All right. We're paying tribute this evening to Count Ossie and the mystic revelation of Rastafari. We told you, and you heard from Herbie Miller just now, how integral Count Ossie is and was and remains to the Jamaican music as we know it now. The union of Count Ossie and others, especially Cedric Brooks and his group, the Mystics, really shaped in a serious way what we've come to know as Jamaican music. Both Count Ossie and Cedric Brooks were alumni from the great Studio One Records, and you heard him talk about Oh Carolina as a seminal, one of the most important recordings of all time, but the seminal piece that really underscored the greatness of Count Ossie. From there, as you heard from Herbie Miller just now, the rest was just history. Very prolific in the entertainment industry. You're an artist, you're a creative person, tapping into the energies of your dad. In terms of what you know of a system, what have you learned over time in looking at this particular issue?
All right, greetings again, and thanks so much for having us. Foremost, I have been doing research for many years. And it's like an obsession. It's been an obsession, and I always say my father won't leave me alone. He haunts me. And it's a topic that keeps coming up. And what I keep discovering is that Count Ossie's music is being sold on every single music platform you could think of. You know, from the UK to the US to all over the world. And it always baffled me, like, who is all of this stuff going to, or who authorized, you know, the legal aspect of it is what I have been trying to solve and get some kind of support as it relates to just settling on it and getting guidance. Legal guidance is the main key. We had ventured some years ago in seeking assistance from, I don't think she does law anymore. What's her name? Lantanet. I think she ran away from Jamaica.
Oh no!
You know
okay.
what I'm talking about?
But you're talking about my best friend, actually.
Ah!
One of my best friends.
Yes,
So she's not practicing on the island
anymore.
So
Right.
she's
That's
not
why
there.
I said I heard she
And
ran away.
and before anybody called me about Lantoinette, it's not Lantoinette.
Right.
It's Antoinette.
Antoinette.
Right.
Ah,
yes.
oh
Yeah.
God, what
Yeah.
a correction.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get that clear.
It's not Lantoinette.
Antoinette.
All right. So you said, but the bottom line is that you have. So Antoinette was looking at this for you. Obviously, we
had one visit with her,
Okay,
and then
okay.
it was money after that, and then we couldn't come up with that money.
Right.
You
so
know?
have you spoken to any other?
No, we haven't.
So the question still remains for you, and the questions, I suppose, still remain for you and your siblings. With because I googled Count Ossie when I was doing the research for this program, and I was looking for his music. And you're right, his music is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Right?
It's everywhere.
So,
But what I discovered, though, a very important point, is that after his transition, Sam Clayton,
All right, so hold on with the names. Be careful now.
he's not here anymore.
I know, but his estate remains.
Okay.
So Sam Clayton at some point was a part of the Mystic Revelation.
Yes, very much an integral part. He was the manager and the orator.
All right. So just be careful what you're going to say.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
So after doing a lot of research and et cetera, I discovered that there was a lot of legal changes that were made. Hence why you have Mystic Revelation of Rastafari and not Count Ossie and the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari.
Right. And that was the
original is
name.
Count Ossie and
if you look at the original music, you'll see that Count Ossie
Yes,
and
yes.
the Mystic Revelations of Rastafari. So you're saying that your research has shown you that there was some changes made legally. What kinds of changes?
In regards to the music,
the music itself, in terms of changing the way the music is done.
Well, as I said before, changing it from removing the Count Ossie,
yes.
and then just running with the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari and the distribution.
So even though
pretty much doing that, to me, you cutting out Count as his children. You cut out Count.
Right. Even though he's playing on all of this, you're saying.
And it's his band.
So the music is distributed now and marketed as just the Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, as opposed to Count Ossie.
No, there are some music that is just Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, which actually occurred as well after his transition. But then you have the music from before, the Groundation album, and I think it's the Tales of Mozambique. Yes, that still stands, but there are other music as well that has been done, and which excludes Count Ossie. Which I guess maybe is understandable because he's not here anymore. But the point is, we did not know all of the legalities that were taking place. We were too kind of young and ignorant as it relates to the business side of music. We know the music business, but there's also a business side of it. So we're just catching on to that whole vibration and discovering a lot of things as it relates to what the rights and yeah.
All right, so I'm very concerned about this. We're going to continue the conversation.
Here is a black fact during Black History Month, brought to you by IRA FM. Nanny of the Maroons was an 18th century leader of the Jamaican Maroons. She led a community of formerly enslaved Africans called the Windward Maroons. In the early 18th century, under the leadership of Nanny, the Windward Maroons fought a guerrilla war over many years against the British authorities in the colony of Jamaica in what became known as the First Maroon War. In 1975, the government of Jamaica declared Nanny as their only female national heroine, celebrating her success as a leader, military tactician, and strategist. Her image is also on the Jamaican $500 note, which is called a nanny in Jamaican slang. That was a black fact during Black History Month, brought to you by IRA FM.
You're inside of the cutting edge. My name is Carbo. I'm in for Motivational. I'm in with the children of Count Ossie. Count Ossie, one of the greatest musicians of all time, master drummer. When it comes to Rastafari drumming, and we heard Herbie Miller talking about that earlier on, he introduced this kind of drumming into the music, which later on became what the music became in terms of the history of Jamaica's music. So he's really critical to any discussion on Jamaican music, Count Ossie and the mystic revelation of Rastafari.
The informative information presented in this video is motivational and is positively aimed at inspiring, educating and entertaining the viewers with the cutting edge of critical reasoning. If you enjoy the contents on the Black Radar YouTube channel, please consider subscribing to show your support.